Okay, so today we're going to be making the bomb salsa, aka fire roasted tomato chipotle chili salsa, or whatever chili you want to put in it. So stay tuned. So for today's ingredients, we're going to need extra virgin olive oil. You're going to need onion. You're going to need parsley or cilantro, garlic, Roma tomatoes, 4 chilies, red wine vinegar, pink Himalayan salt, some sort of sugar, and you're also going to need a food processor. You're going to need a cutting board, some sharp knives, and go-to attitude. So stay tuned for the recipe. The first step of the recipe is we need to cut these tomatoes in half, and we need to fire roast them. So to do that, obviously you have a nice knife. This is actually a knife meant for just tomatoes. We're gonna cut them in half, like so. There you go. And then what we're also gonna do is, you have a bowl, there's all this little tomato goop in there. You kind of really lightly squeeze them, like so. And you can see that it comes out. We don't want that. We just want the tomato part. And then what you do with the tomatoes, you actually put the tomatoes onto a pan for the next step. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna put tomatoes all over that. So it's all the tomatoes on here. Again, we want 2 pounds of these. So 2 pounds. Not, yeah, 2 pounds. 2 pounds. 2 pounds of tomato. Okay, so to actually fire roast these tomatoes, we actually want to put the oven on broil high. You hit start, and obviously the way the oven works when it broils, it has a fire up here. So we're gonna set the tomatoes in on the top rack, and we're gonna broil them for 15 to 20 minutes. So in 15 minutes, we're gonna check on to see how they look. But essentially, these should be blackened and fire. You can hear that it just kicked on the heat. So close that up. Set the timer, 15. The next step of the recipe, we're going to actually do some stuff with the onion. So we have our onion. We actually only need to use half of it. So we're gonna have our nice little chopping knife so I don't cut my fingers off. Slice that in half. We're gonna use the bigger half. This half we're just gonna set to the side. And as you know, at 614 Life, we have this amazing onion device, which finely chops them. So actually we need to get this part off real quick. And then we can cut it into manageable sized chunks so it will fit into this. I think that should be good. And then you go like so. So the next step of this recipe, we're gonna actually chop up the chilies, and this is gonna be a very dangerous part of the recipe if you don't wash your hands before you go to the bathroom. Little adult humor there for you. Finely chop the chilies, and we have our trusty chopping knife, so we're gonna chop the tops off, drop the top, chop the top. Yeah, so I just remembered that you can actually use this for peppers also. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw these in there, like so. We'll actually cut these in half. There's no spiders in them. There's not. Well, there's no spiders in that one. This one, spider free. So then we're gonna attach this. This thing is great. Watch this, how fast this chops these bad boys up. Is that not fine enough for you? It's almost as fine as I am. Ooh! So we're gonna go ahead and put these in a separate bowl. Look how fine. Oh man, this smells spicy. Ooh. And again, if you want the salsa to be spicier, you can add different kind of peppers. I put 2 poblanos, which are not very spicy. I put a serrano, which is fairly spicy, and I put a jalapeno, which could be spicy or couldn't be, depending on where you live. When we were out in Arizona, the jalapenos were hot, hot, hot. Here in Ohio, not so much. So we're just gonna go ahead and leave that there. You smell the kitchen right now, you would smell the fire roasting tomatoes in the oven. But we're gonna get to this. We need to chop up 4 cloves of garlic, very fine. So what I like to do with this knife is like this and just hit it, and forget it. And that gets the peel thing off of it. So we'll just chop this up real fine. Chippity 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 chop, chippity 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 chop. Okay, so there's the finely minced the garlic. We're gonna actually throw that in with the onions for the next step. Well, not the next step, but you get the point. Just toss them in here. Okay, so the next step, we're gonna actually chop up a half a cup of cilantro or parsley, whatever you prefer. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw the stems out, and we're just gonna chop this up pretty fine. I hate cilantro personally. It's a family thing. It's in my genetics. My dad used to live in Mexico City to be exact, Zihuatanejo and Acapulco, and he couldn't stand cilantro, so you can imagine what he ate. I mean, I don't know what he ate, but maybe that's where he got the hate for cilantro, when he was eating a bunch of it, but I just can't stand it, so I'm gonna assume it's genetic. So we just wanna chop that up, a separate bowl. And the tomatoes are almost done. Okay, the tomatoes are done, so we're gonna actually pull these out of the oven. Bear with me. Boom shakalaka. The next step, we're gonna actually heat up a saucepan with some extra virgin olive oil in it, and we want to actually heat it up until the oil starts smoking, and then we're gonna add the onions to this and caramelize them for 10 minutes. So smoke coming off of the pan. So we're gonna actually zoom in a little bit. And now we're gonna caramelize the onions and garlic. 10 minutes, so we're just gonna, remember again, it's a half an onion. Ooh, this is hot. Ooh. Oh, hot, hot, hot. So 10 minutes of this. I'm gonna set the timer actually. The next thing you see will be the next step of the recipe. And also, don't forget to stir the onions as you're caramelizing them. I was just informed by my wife. I'm gonna give them a little stir once in a while. We get about 8 minutes left. No crying in this house, and it smells delicious. After the onions are caramelized, we're gonna turn the heat off and go on to the next step. We actually, you're gonna need a food processor or a blender for this. This is actually a 3-cup blender, so there's not gonna be enough room for everything. So we're gonna have to improvise a little bit, but. Okay, so for the next step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take half of the fire roasted Roma tomatoes, put them into the food processor, and you leave the skin on for this step. So just about 1 pound. And you also wanna put the, focus man, focus. You also wanna put the sauteed onion and garlic mixture into the processor. So for the next step, we actually have the stuff in the food processor / blender, and we're actually going to just pulse it. We don't want to puree it. We want to make it pretty fine. It would help if I plugged it in. Now we're cooking, literally. What? Which one? Okay, so this is the consistency we want for this portion. Okay. Now, the next step is we want to add the transfer this into that bowl. Bowl with me. If you had a bigger processor, you could actually do it all in the same thing, but I don't, so this is what you get. Slide that out. You want to actually add all of your chilies. And again, if you have a bigger processor or a blender, you can do this step without separating. We had to separate. Okay, we add that. We add the parsley or cilantro, whatever you prefer. And if somebody comments if it's the same thing, probably is. And then we want to add some salt. Calls for a tablespoon of salt. I'm gonna put about a tablespoon. And then it calls for a tablespoon of sugar. This is 2 tablespoons, so I'm gonna put, that's 1 tablespoon. A tablespoon of sugar. I never use sugar, so I'm probably gonna throw this bag away. Okay. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take those tomatoes, we're gonna peel them. So we don't wanna, we see how easy this is? We just wanna peel them, like so. And then put those into the processor. So that's what we're gonna do right now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take 1/4 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil and 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. So that's what we're gonna do right here. This is actually a 1/2 cup, so I'm gonna fill that halfway with oil. And again, I can't find my 1/4 measuring cup, so we're just gonna play it by ear. And then we're gonna go put this in frame, do it over the thing just in case I spill. 1/4 cup of that, pour that in. This you don't want to chop it up as fine as this, okay? So we're gonna put this on the processor with a blender. We're gonna plug it in because we knew last time it didn't work. We didn't plug it in, and we're gonna maybe hit 1 pulse. 1 more, and that should be good for that, I think. Let me check it. Yes, that's good. So now we're gonna take this, put it in here, and mix it into mixtures. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in, like so, yada yada. And then we're gonna put this in, like so. Yeah. And then we're gonna just fold them together, very gently. There we go. Fold them together. And now, depending on how you like your salsa, if you like it hot, you can eat it right now. If you like it cold, put it in the fridge. I prefer my salsa cold, so we're gonna put it in the fridge, let it chill off a little bit, and then we're gonna be back with some chips, and we're gonna show you how it tastes. It's time for the taste test. I got 2 different kinds of chips. I have the blue corn and the white corn. This one is actually cooked in avocado oil. So here's the salsa. Let's give it a shot. That is amazing. Whoa. Oh, it's got a kick to it. Woo. Cheers. I want you to try this recipe. Let me know how you like it. Comment below. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the fans. Like the video, share the video. Yada, yada, yada. 614 Live. Peace. You're welcome.